Thank you. My name is Harry Hops, and I decided to do my research project on something that I felt as if could connect to me. So I'm going to school to major in child development, early childhood development. So I wanted to see if there was something that I could learn and gain in a research that will benefit me and my major in the future. And basically, I connected my personal experience with something that'll go right along with that. So I researched the question of why does attachment lead to suffering? So these are pictures of me and my mom, and then me, my mom, and my dad, and these are my siblings. I am the youngest. I am the most spoiled, bratty person that you could ever meet. My parents never had privacy. So when your mom has you, you're stuck with your mom with an umbilical cord for 9 months. You eat the same food, drink the same drink, listen to the same music, interact with each other. It's just you and your mom. So at the time when I was born, my mom and my dad told me I didn't want anybody else but my parents. Even my siblings, which is crazy because I grew up in a house with them. I didn't want to be anybody. I didn't want to be attached to anyone but my parents, especially my mom. Like, she went to the bathroom, I would be in there, and everywhere she went, that's where I would go. So eventually, when I got into high school, I felt as if I wanted to be my own person. So I dropped the Ken and the Barbie dolls, and I started picking up money. I like boys, friends, all that type of stuff. And in high school, that's what you start feeling at the time. So my parents, they weren't too happy about it, seeing that I was growing up. So me and my mom started getting into constant arguments and things like that, and our relationship just got really unhealthy. And I felt as if I had to detach myself to make our relationship better, which I felt as if kind of harmed our relationship too at the end. So which leads to my detachment process and what I had to go through to eventually find myself and not be in my mother's shadow. So is anybody in here attached to something like a phone, a significant other, like you would consider yourself a thing? What are you attached to, Trayshawn?
My phone.
What are you attached to? Oh, that's cute. Anybody else? Okay, so the definition of attachment is an emotional bond between an infant or toddler and their caregiver, and it's a strong bond vital for the child's normal behavior and social development. And so if you attach yourself to someone, that could mentally, physically, and emotionally affect you in many types of different ways. And the result of the unresolved attachment, if you still find yourself attached to them, it can lead to bigger problems like depression, anxiety, stress, and other leading factors that you do not want to continue to happen because it can mentally, harm you. So for the interview portion, I interviewed Denise Vessel Chapman. She is a world literature teacher at Meacham College Prep who majored in English, who got her major from Jackson State, where I'm going. So basically, she related the concept of attachment to fear, saying how people are scared to grow bonds with other people. They fear that they will get attached to somebody else if they grow like a relationship, friendship, anything else with them. And one specific quote that she says is, if someone becomes attached to someone or something, it can hinder their ability to relinquish relationships that cause more harm than help and forces others not to want to be around because you only want to be around the thing that you are attached to or prevent you from actually loving and living your own life. So basically, you're holding yourself back being attached to something in other words. So this is John Bowie. He conducted research on the attachment theory, and here's a video to help you get a further understanding of who he is.
John Bowlby was a British psychologist, and he became extremely interested in child-mother separation during the bombing of London. The bombing of London, a lot of parents sent their kids to the safety of the countryside. And the kids were with safe people, they were well cared for, they were well fed, but they still had a very negative response to the separation from their mothers. At that point, he looked at the biology that was emerging in primatology. A monkey infant gets almost all its nutrition in the first 2 or 3 months of life from its mother, from lactation. But the infant who's weaned still seeks proximity. You'll see the infant reach out and touch the mom's tail or touch its coat. There's a continuing lifelong desire for proximity and contact. And Bowlby and others have seen that proximity seeking and that contact seeking as being cornerstones of what they call attachment behavior.
In the first part of the 20th century, behaviorists and psychoanalysts claimed that babies love their parents because you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. The innovation of Bowlby was to
Okay, so basically with that research, Bowlby basically discovered that you are more likely to be susceptible to the person that feeds you, loves you, cares for you, like your mother and your father, or your parents. So basically, if you have somebody over here that's giving you all the love and nourishment that you ever want and need, and you have somebody that comes around here and there, you're obviously going to have an emotional attachment to somebody who gives you what you need and what you want. And the main targets of attachment are people who give them like food, water, warmth, relief, and other things like that that they need. If you are someone facing an attachment problem, or if you don't know that you have an attachment problem, you might be proximity seeking. You have your happiness at the reunion of the person, so if you're not with that person, you might feel sad or wait on them to get back, but then when they get back, you feel all happy again. I've been there before. Grief, sadness at loss. When my mom leaves me, I do feel a little sad. Like, I don't have my best friend around anymore. Like, I'll wait on her to get home, and I know that these characteristics of someone who has an attachment problem, I know I fit into some of them when it comes to the relationship me and my mother had. So what about detachment? So with attachment comes detachment. Attaching yourself to something can be unhealthy at some point. So there is going to be a time when you feel like you have to detach yourself. And during this time, you are going to feel hurt, emptiness, and dependency. You're going to feel hurt because that thing that you were attached to is not there anymore, as well as emptiness because you're going to feel like another part of you is left. But dependency is where everything comes into play because you have to now depend on yourself and now be more independent because you relied on that person for everything. So what's the solution? Set yourself free and be who you want to be. You can't go around in life like living attached to someone else's help. You have to go out and experience what you want to do yourself. If you have a hard time detaching yourself from someone, I would say talk to someone about it. Don't keep it in to yourself because that can lead to further things that we talked about, like depression, anxiety, stress, things like that that you don't really need in your life. And basically establish emotional boundaries with the things that you are attached to. If you're trying to detach yourself, don't keep going back to something that you know that is unhealthy for you. Just find yourself. Thank you.